Welcome to the final lesson. This is Awaken to Brazen Creativity. Not only did I ask you to walk with me through 5 intellectually stimulating and spiritually challenging lessons, but I asked you to think. I wanted you to take time and really think. And by taking that time, you arrive here. It's hard to envision what it takes to be in Brazen Creative without the first 5 lessons encouraging that time and effort to journal, but that's just the opening salvo. This course is really just the beginning. A start to a way of rethinking the priorities in our lives and starting right where we are. We don't need a new car. We don't need a new home. We don't need to take a trip to faraway lands to help some beautiful underprivileged orphan. We're starting right here in our seat, at our job and in our own minds. And this revolution isn't about toppling tyrannical dictators. It's about tapping into the creative power you possess. To be a brazen creative is to own your mind. It is to bring forth a unique and fresh perspective. It is to innovate and craft solutions that not only address problems, but help you stand out as a vibrant thinker. Brazen creatives have their ikigai exactly where they need it to be, right here, the driving force to everything they do. And that driving force encourages failure as a habit as they try unique approaches to achieve what they set out to do. They're unafraid to face caution and risk. They see them as allies. And when they're placed in their proper perspective, they understand that certainty defies conventional wisdom. Brazen creatives can achieve any goal they set out to accomplish. They think deeply and consciously and conspicuously tap the gas field. The brazen creative is someone who understands that mediocre is a warning about my energy demands ideas over carefully rehearsed excuses. These traits of brazen creatives, these ideals, this challenging way, isn't for the faint of heart. These traits are the antidote to amplified mediocrity and a way to keep the future as brilliant as the thinking we possess. After this course, you too will be on the path to brazen creativity. Let's get started, shall we? To awaken to brazen creativity is to live with innovation, bold creativity, and deep thinking as your norm. It isn't always easy. Thomas Edison said, "One might think that the money value of an invention constitutes its reward to the man who loves his work. But speaking for myself, I can honestly say this is not so. I continue to find my greatest pleasure and so my reward in the work that precedes what the world calls success." We know from Failure is a Habit that Edison tried over 6,000 filaments before he got the one he patented that literally lit the world. And that's how brazen creativity works in action. It's thinking, trying, failing, learning, being steadfast to our ikigai the whole time. We define success and pursue it, knowing our scale may never reflect what others say we must value. If you have been paying attention throughout this course, you know that brazen creativity isn't a thing we do, it's a lifestyle, a way of thought that encourages us to challenge everything we were once taught. And that is hard work. Most of us, myself included, use someone else's scale to measure our success. So we started on this journey by attacking amplified mediocrity. We know that malaise is a direct function of the scale we were forced to adopt, accepting good as normal and knowing that left us with a feeling of something missing, that taste that didn't have a name or form. As we progressed, we talked about caution and risk as curious allies. Man, I will tell you that brazen creativity, it challenges everything. Every notion of caution and risk we use, and unfortunately, like our forebears who had to face the tiger or the bear, we don't have the dictionary to help us parse the definition. It is something we have to live. And that alone should be a challenge in and of itself, but to add to it, we see caution and risk so fluidly, we start tearing at the notion of failure. When we tear the notion of failure, we really understand that we're bringing forth our ikigai, the key to everything. We very purposely look at the reason we wake up every day. And we know that that's the motivator to all things. And we had to dissect everything we take in, all of our inputs, the media, friends, and our self-talk to craft the outcomes we say we want. Without knowing ikigai, we can't free our engine, and we certainly can't put it in front of the caboose. And we know that in order to truly live ikigai, we have to put the engine in front of the caboose, and when you free your engine, the caboose will follow. We learned how to assess failure in the proper light. It's a habit. And in Failure as a Habit, we talked at length about how failing must be a norm. That's something, it will cause many of us physical or psychological discomfort. Yet this is where our greatest innovation lies. Because we understand how to turn failure into an iterative process that helps us achieve success as we define it, not failure or success, failure and success. And the old scale was so decrepit and so poorly calibrated, we would never think that success was just avoiding failure. But we know that when we pursue what our heart's purpose truly is, the reason why we wake up, we endure failure as a classroom. And we set it as a precursor to success. In Tap the Gas Field, we went through 8 letters, GASFIELD. And we understand that get your goals accomplished, you have to make an attempt and succeed or fail, and then you have to innovate and elevate in order to learn your lesson and have the discussions that bring you back to whether or not you're going to get to your goal. We are here because we have been through 5 lessons that culminate in Awaken to Brazen Creativity. And now we're ready to be brazen. BRAZEN. And it is this culmination of the previous lessons that allows us to really talk about being ridiculous, agitating for change, zealously agitating, and empowering novelty. So let's talk about each of those 6 words. Be ridiculous, agitate zealously, and empower novelty. Be, exist as you are. Do not do or be or achieve anything but what makes you you. Your mind is your most tangible asset, and it allows you to express ikigai in myriad ways. Indeed, the old scale asks you to do many good things, but never challenge you to be great. As a brazen creative, you'll challenge yourself to be, to have an epic presence, the hero of your own story, to find success on your terms and pursue it because it's what you say is your best expression of ikigai. Ridiculous. We're so used to avoiding failure, we make looking cool an art form. Yet the brazen creative is a risk taker. Someone who works through 1,000 ways for a solution and without fear of embarrassment doesn't care about failure because ridiculous means you're trying something unconventional, and you've learned that to make a fool of yourself in your own mind, you have to think big, dream big, and don't stop until you get the results you define as success. Agitate zealously. We agitate. We must get out of and stay out of thinking that isn't physically or psychologically comfortable. We know that brazen creatives will often advocate our vision and our creation, and will know that our expression of ikigai is at stake if we don't. So one of the toughest challenges we'll ever face is to defend our ideas in an environment that isn't immediately conducive to the thinking of the kind we're talking about in these lessons. And if we agitate zealously. Brazen creatives are the squeaky wheel that need grease. We just don't stop until we're heard. Since we are always crafting multiple approaches to problems, looking at all our resources with fresh perspectives, and telling our team members, clients, supervisors, and investors how we can craft powerful solutions that leapfrog the old way of thought, we are zealous because we have a healthy respect for the power of learning through failure. In the tech industry, they often say, fail early, fail often. Brazen creatives will check their egos at the beginning, get themselves in front of a decision maker, and they don't quit at the word no. They learn from each interaction, they refine and build, and on each lesson, they learn. If we have a perspective we believe in, we must be our greatest advocate. Empower E. Brazen creatives don't do all this magnificent thought work to become bench warmers. Our observations, our creativity, our ingenuity are our greatest allies. We don't wait for permission to be brilliant or witty or clever. We have been armed with a set of tools that encourage original thought. Sitting those thoughts on a shelf in anticipation for a moment that won't come because someone else is using a scale to define our success that we would never use for ourselves. If they don't see it and we don't tell them, they'll never know. We are empowered to create and create again. We're in control of our future and our destiny. We brazen creatives believe in novelty. We believe that what we do should bring a smile to our face and those with whom we share. Our ideas should be well thought out and they should be expressed passionately. The thing about novelty is that it's newness come to life. Everything you craft in this space of brazen creativity is fresh, and not because it's been thought of before or hasn't been thought of before, but because it's new to you. Give credit where it's due and build on the thought that each new idea has legs because you are creative, because you are thoughtful, and because you're willing to see with new eyes all the time. Be ridiculous, agitate zealously, and empower novelty. That's being a brazen creative, and it's a conscious decision to make after this entire course. We've covered some very heady topics, and I know just writing and presenting this course was an incredible challenge for me. I couldn't ask all of you to become a Brazen Creative without having gone through the process myself, and believe me, it's been harder than almost anything I've done since I left the Air Force Academy. And in many ways, it's been harder than that. I've asked you to listen and think and test out some concepts that are incredibly controversial. And unlike sensationalized shouting matches on television, these fights are within. They're right here and right here. And they tackle some of the most basic understandings of who we are. And I promise you, as much as we've done already, we're not done yet. Not only do I have 5 more reflection questions, the last for this course, but I have a whole universe of topics to cover with you over time. This course is Awaken to Brazen Creativity. We still have so much to share. Things that I brought up in this course that for the sake of brevity, I couldn't dive into. I'll be touring America with this course and other materials, sharing what makes Brazen Creativity so powerful to the many professionals suffering from the malaise of amplified mediocrity. I'll be sharing your thoughts in the community of Brazen Creative, which you'll find online, and you'll be sharing your thoughts in that community too. I want to say thank you for hanging with me and sharing this much time. I truly value your participation, and I would love your feedback. I'll be on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook and my website, and I look forward to your interaction. As I tour across the country, I look forward to spending time with you, having a beverage, sipping a cup of tea, a glass of wine or a beer, and just having a conversation about what you've learned. That's how I created this course in the first place, and that's how I want to create more. I don't want to create in a vacuum. You all are the Brazen Creatives I need for me to stay in my creative space. I'm so excited to have spent this time with you, and thank you so much for hanging with me. Here are the 5 reflection questions that I want to ask you that will culminate all that we've talked about. Some of them are new, some of them are repeats, but all of them give us a chance to sit and think. And at the end of these reflections, I want you to go back. Over the last 2 weeks, you've really looked at yourself with a different lens, and that's been amazing. So as you finish this course, you have 25 reflection questions that will help you decide how you want to live your best life. It isn't about you doing what I tell you. It's about you creating and defining success for yourself, and then having the tools to pursue it at the speed you believe you can go. And I believe that the untapped potential of your mind is greater than any tool or task in front of you. So let's get started on these reflection questions. And then, because you have a brand new journal, don't stop with this course. Take time to continue thinking and writing, because Brazen Creatives are on the leading edge of their own thought. And mind your inputs. Bring into your mind the things that will make you better, that will help you express your ikigai. And when it's all said and done, and you're truly a Brazen Creative, and Brazen Creativity is your hallmark, you will have not only changed your world, but the world of those you love most. Here are the reflection questions. Thanks again for your time. 1. What does be ridiculous mean to you? 2. Name 3 areas in which you can immediately agitate zealously, and ask yourself why those 3 areas. 3. What prevents you from being able to empower novelty in your professional life? 4. Who is the one person you fear most in becoming a Brazen Creative, and why do they have that power? 5. Apply Brazen Creativity to one area of your life. Now project that one area forward 1 year. What do you look like? Is that vision empowering or disheartening? Why? You've had 2 weeks to think and chew on this. I'm so happy and so proud that you have joined me in the process of thinking like a Brazen Creative. Our journey's just beginning. I look forward to seeing what's next. Let's get started, shall we?